All right, let's get down to business here. We're going to get straight into this. This is like an edited on start to the podcast. We have to address something that came up last week. There was a press release coming out from EFG to do with Spotify and us, and the way that was worded and how it ended up on the internet. There was a lot of questions. We received questions from our viewers on YouTube, even Spotify replying in the replies there, people asking the question about if the podcast is owned by ESL. And get straight out the gate, that is not the case. That has never been the case throughout. What episode is this? Is this 52?
52. This is our 1 year episode.
Yes, so a year worth of episodes. And for those people who have been with us throughout that journey, you will have noticed that, audio quality has gotten better and worse and better again. We've done some video episodes. We've done other bits and bobs to try and, we've done some artwork. It's not a big deal, but we had a guy make some artwork. We've just been slowly upgrading this. And people who have been here with us from the start will be aware that this is just the three of us who decided we want to do a podcast together. But the origins go back a little bit further. Initially, I wanted to do one with Henry and Alex when we lived together in Malta, in the Lanchin. It was going to be like just something easy to do with the three of us all being in the same place, but that never really came to fruition. We only did a couple of episodes. It wasn't very successful because we didn't have the follow through. Then last year around Cologne, ESL approached you and me to come on in and do... let's get him out of here, to come on in and do... fuck.
We had the 4 episode deal.
Yeah, I'm just you got thrown off because Rush came and joined.
Yeah, he
so
did.
I
That's all right. I'm
thought.
just picking up where you left off. Yeah, last year around Cologne, Spotify had Spotify Germany, I believe it was, had asked ESL to do 4 podcast episodes around Cologne, which they tapped Chad and I to do. And Chad and I sat down with we sat down with Carmack for one episode. We sat down with Mapaz from Movistar Riders. A couple other people, and they were just like 1 hour, quick 1 hour episodes, no real plan. It was just kind of, hit play and go. And obviously that went pretty well because this year Spotify and ESL kind of re-upped that partnership. And as part of that partnership, once again, it was a podcast on a more permanent basis that wouldn't be around a singular event. It would be more consistent, which is kind of where they came back to Chad and I and Yanko, obviously, with this podcast that we began, because ESL has no product like that in their envelope.
Yeah, but long story short with this is that ESL came to us earlier this year. They said, hey, Spotify wants to be involved in the gaming space. ESL essentially the broker between us and Spotify. That's our understanding of the events. They have no control over any of the content. They have no control over what we say, what we do. So there's no control from ESL over any of this, and they don't own it, right? This is Spotify, who are the ones that we're servicing here. And this is only 12 video episodes, which we've already done 2 of. We recorded 2 of those literally in the same day in Dallas, I think. We did the one with Twists, and then we did the one with Alex later that evening. Yeah, that was on the same day. And I was going to do one last Friday, but once all this news and it was on Reddit and there was all the questions about it, I didn't think it was appropriate to do one with Henry and Alex on Friday because that would have just been even more not talking about Counter-Strike and 3 guys just goofing off and being absolute clowns. So people think that maybe we weren't taking the fallout very seriously, which is not the case. I'll be honest, I was pretty pissed off when I saw that initially come out. Yeah. Like I saw it and I thought to myself, like, how the fuck has this been posted without us even being notified? Because we weren't notified that there was any release from EFG. We weren't even, obviously we weren't notified. We didn't know that there was going to be anything at all. So we don't know what the text included.
Yeah, I mean, during recording our last episode, it was the Ryan at Dust 2 messaged me and was like, hey, what's up with this press release around Spotify and ESL? And that's when I found out that there was a press release, was when we were recording the last episode. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. And obviously the language of that very much, let's just say ESL kind of screwed up in this sense in terms of, one, releasing the press release without even us knowing that there was going to be
100%, Jason. Like, the whole thing is this is meant to be like them brokering the deal. But like, obviously we know that one of their sponsors for their events is Spotify, right? Like there's no questions about that, but they don't have the inventory of what we do as a show. And we did this show because what we wanted to do didn't exist in the space. Like, obviously there's a lot of Counter-Strike podcasts going around, but people do it a bit more like newsworthy, right? Or they do it a bit more hot take worthy. Yeah. A lot of the time, and people will notice, we're just 3 guys talking about whatever random shit comes to mind. I read one guy, especially when this conversation was going on, saying, oh yeah, in the episode with Twists, they started to talk about it, but Spunj cut them off to start asking Jason about his sex life. And I read that and I was like, oh man. It's like, I wasn't doing that because like I didn't want to talk about this. First of all, I didn't want to talk about this with Twists twist there. We only have him for limited time, and I didn't want to fucking, worry about the details of this. It's like we're doing 12 episodes with video exclusively on Spotify, and once those 12 are done, it's done. That's it. And essentially, the reason we wanted to do this with Spotify was so that we could get a little bit of extra money coming in to increase the quality of what we're putting out, because we enjoy what we're doing, right? That's the fact of the matter is, at least it did until this like recent news. It kind of bummed me out a lot. Right?
Yeah, it was a rough week. It was a rough couple days after this.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think like it's always going to stay true to, because I fight back against Yanko about fucking timestamps. How irrational is that? You know, like I want this to just be a loosey goosey chit chat fucking thing that we do, and then when we go to events, we do it in person. We've upgraded. We've got some more microphones. We can get a couple more cameras in the mix. You know, maybe I get a Stream Deck, not a Steam Deck. I got one of those, a Stream Deck, so we can change through the cameras a little bit easy. But people who have been with us throughout the 52 episodes now will have seen things change for better or for worse as far as like the quality of production goes. We're starting to use AI now to help us clean up audio and hopefully fix some of those issues, because I'm sure there's going to be audio bleed through from my fucking headset again, because I probably didn't adjust that one more time. But we're essentially, what I'm ranting off to is, this is just the three of us who have full control over whatever we do. And that's why some episodes are shit. And that's why most episodes we start talking about the clap. We're talking about a sexually transmitted disease at the start of most episodes, you know. So we're definitely not the smartest of characters. We're just guys who want to talk about Counter-Strike and around the space. So what else did I miss here that we wanted to bring up? 12 episodes. Most of those episodes will be done over Cologne and Pro League, right? And then I think this is obviously for the future, and this is something we can discuss as we see how things pan out. But if this is good, like the video quality we get up to is good, I'd like to go back to putting it everywhere, right? Like having the YouTube, having everything, and seeing if we can make it available on more platforms for people. But yeah, that's the future. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself.
Yeah, we have some interesting things that we want to do in the future, and where it could possibly be and where it could possibly live. But yeah, I think that pretty much was everything. Unaware of the press release, didn't see the language, didn't get a check, and obviously the language was really concerning, made it sound like ESL owned the podcast, which is not the case. Yeah,
I wouldn't sign anything that said ESL owned the podcast.
No, I wouldn't either.
That just wouldn't happen. It just that's not gonna happen.
And the reason why it was so frustrating for the past week is because like there is a certain level where you can feel like you could see from the comments that we were getting that there was like a certain amount of like trust and faith that was shaken, that we were trying to slip one past the goalie, so to speak, trying to sneak one past the audience, and that's not the case. And I think anything that kind of erodes that trust and that faith that the audience has in us is what's really, really nerve-wracking for us, is that all of a sudden we saw it kind of change. So that was the big worry for us, that we wanted to clear thing up before we got on to another episode, which is what we're doing here today. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think that's a key point, right? Like, obviously, the people who listen to our show, we want them to think that they're listening to us just being ourselves, and that is the case, right? So it's frustrating when that's what you're talking about, right? Like the fact that people had no question before, and now they do. And regardless of the facts of the matter, this is not owned by ESL. The people are going to have their mind made up one way or another now, right? It taints people, and that's the disappointing part to me. Like the biggest thing with this, as soon as this happens, I start reading some of the comments, is the damage done. Right. And most of the stuff in the news cycle in the esports world lasts for 2 to 3 days max. But it's the people who enjoyed our show that feel duped that you really hurt for, that you really want to rectify things. Exactly. Because we were getting good feedback. People were enjoying this, right? And the last thing that I would want to do is taint this for, I'll be honest, money that I can do without, right? The money that I'm getting from doing this is to help pump back in and, get some more graphics made, or get an upgrade of a camera, or get an upgrade of a microphone.
The negative money that you've gotten from this.
I've actually, that's the thing. So essentially doing this for fun, and then getting an opportunity to try and upgrade things and get a little support doing so, and then now the fucking heartache that it's caused, it's probably not worth it. But like I said, we got 12 episodes. We got 10 to go. We'll get them done through Cologne and Pro League.
The first few weeks of Pro League, we'll probably cap it off.
And then we'll probably just keep pumping them out. Ideally, the goal with those episodes is to get some more players on. It's always nice to talk to the players and get to do that stuff. So we'll see what we're able to cook up in the coming weeks. And I really still want to get Katie on, and I still want to talk to some of those people.
I have a couple of players I want to get on by the end of the year. That would be really cool.
Okay, so this is like our start of the episode public service announcement. We should also say Yanko is not here because he has gone away for his birthday.
Birthday
So
vacation.
he's not in the country at the moment. So otherwise he would be joining us. He takes this just as seriously as we do, but not able to get him on the line at the moment, which is all good. So yeah, I'm just trying to think. Should we stop the PSA, start a new recording, and get into the show?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. All right. Someone was definitely delayed there, but that's fine. It doesn't matter.
I think it was me.
Rush, you asked a well, you're lagging anyway because you're from America, so it's all good. Fuck. Rush, you asked a question moments ago. Yeah. Just before we started recording. Can you ask the question again?
I don't remember what the question was. What was the question? Where's Yanko?
Yeah. Oh, Yanko's on holiday.
Oh yeah, where is he? I already know he's in Spain.
It's on a beach.
Yeah. And did you know why?
Vacation?
It was his birthday the other day. Did you wish him happy birthday?
It was. Yes, I wished him happy birthday. Yeah, but it was weird though. I sent him a text saying happy birthday, but I think it was stormy outside, so he didn't actually get it till the next day, which is kind of unfortunate.
What?
But I did
because it was storming outside.
Birthday. Yeah, I even put in brackets. I'm sending this on the day of the birthday, and then he responded the next day, and I realized that it had only just sent like 10 minutes before then, so it must have just been delayed somehow.
Wait,
I think it was the weather.
What?
Yeah, no. Well, sometimes, Jason, when because the message is going from Germany to Serbia, so sometimes, and it takes a while, to get to the place.
A lot of clouds,
I feel like I'm being fucking trolled here.
So he only saw the message the day after, which was kind of because I only sent on the day after his birthday, but I sent it on his birthday to let him know happy birthday.
Because if this wasn't true, Jason, essentially what you would be accusing Rush of was not realizing it was Yanko's birthday and messaging a day later.
Okay,
so, which exactly didn't happen. I even put in brackets though to make sure he knew that I did send it on the day. I put in brackets the day it was. By the way, happy birthday in brackets. I'm sending this day.
You're sending this from the 50s actually, when the weather has an impact on communication.
Yeah.
It's an ironclad defense. What message service did you use?
I don't know if I replace it with BotSpap.
Okay, yeah. So you used fair enough. So and then you could just blame it on Zuck. He's been too busy getting into fights with Elon, and maybe now that it's operating a little bit slower, just like at New Year's. At New Year's, Jason, whenever everyone's sending messages at New Year's Eve, they're sending out the pictures. Happy New Year's! They're on the fireworks. They're having the kiss. So that's essentially what happened because Yanko's so popular that everybody was sending him happy birthday
flooding
messages.
Into it.
So Russians couldn't get through, obviously.
It is. His birthday is does kind of mess with my brain because for the past almost decade, we've celebrated his birthday during Cologne every year, and now that Cologne is moved, it feels very, very strange. I even notice it with you see all the tweets that HLTV puts out, on this day in 2019, Liquid completed the Grand Slam at IEM Cologne, and on this day in 2016, the Brazilian core won their second major at ESL Cologne.
Yeah.
And I'm just sat here and I'm like, this is so messed up that we don't actually have Cologne going on right now. Because it's always been over 4th of July. It's always been into this first week of July. And now it's just empty. It's just a hole.
Now the travel day is my fucking birthday. I've got to travel into Cologne on my birthday. It's like, man, I've got to travel.
Your birthday too, Chad?
On the 24th of July.
Wow, a couple of July birthdays here.
Going to be 24th
as well.
34.
Oh,
how's it feel?
Yeah.
34.
Feels like I'm in my mid-30s.
Vastly different than 33.
I still feel like a 25-year-old.
How old is Yanko?
30?
31.
31? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, be careful.
Well, I don't know everyone.
31.
Ages off.
He just turned 31.
So there we go. We got there in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. There's the answers to your questions, Rush.
All right.
And was that the only questions you had for us today?
I think so.
Nice.
No, you didn't have. I thought you had. Okay. Did you bring anything else for show and tell?
I did pick something up on Amazon. I thought I'd like to talk about it. I've been very excited about my emulating adventure recently. So I
how was it received? Did you get any emulator enthusiasts kind of reaching out to you after the last conversation?
No, not one person. Not one person. I'm staying away ever since that one comment where some guy shit talked to me in the Reddit. I'm staying away from any sort of comment sections or anything like that. I don't want it to change how I act and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm staying away.
Fair enough.
Unless someone tells me to my face, I hate you on the Talking Counter podcast, then I will not come on here ever again. But as long as it's So anyway, I bought this little device. It's pretty damn cool. It's a Miu Mini Plus. It is
Miu. So are you like? How would you spell that if someone wanted to type that into the interwebs?
Miyooo.
Bang right. You guessed that, or are you googling that?
I googled it earlier.
Okay. Well,
okay. So the Miu Mini
Plus.
Is it the Plus?
Yes, I have the Plus variant.
So what? How many? Before we venture forth here, and you explain the details of the Miu Mini Plus edition, how many handheld gaming devices do you own?
Only three. I have a Steam Deck.
Only three.
Okay.
Which wasn't given to me by Valve, like some people. I have a PlayStation Vita, which is kind of cool, which I've had for ages, but I'd never touched it.
PlayStation Vita.
Vita, not a PSP,
and that's what you were talking about on the last episode.
Yes, and Hank also has a PlayStation
Henry was waiting
Vita.
for his to be delivered during the last episode as well.
Yep, okay, he's taken it to Copenhagen, I believe, so he will be playing it on his travel day, which is nice. I might get a report from him of how it went.
Yep.
And now I have the Miu Mini Plus, which, if you look at it, it basically looks like a Game Boy. Yeah. It has like an IPS screen, man. It looks really clean. I have the black transparent version, so I can see all the little stuff inside.
All the gears, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the nicest visual game that you could play on it?
I mean, I haven't played that much stuff so far. I played because I never really played Pokemans when I was a kid. My brother played a lot of Pokemans.
Are we talking the red and the blue, or are we talking?
I believe this is our friend Pex. He told me to play Emerald, the Emerald version.
Okay, all right.
There's a Sapphire version as well.
Yes, there's a lot of different colors involved here. So I'm trying out that. I'm not really a Pokemon, to be honest, but I think it's okay. I'm not against the idea of the Pokemons. But so I'm trying that out. But you can play Game Boy on it, Game Boy Color on it, Sega Genesis on it, the Neon Genesis. I don't know if that's the same or different. You can play up to PlayStation 1, which is kind of cool, on this tiny little Game Boy.
This episode brought to you by the Miu Mini V2. Proud partner.
V2 is actually the Mini, which was a very, very... Because this is the Mini Plus, which is a bit bigger. The one previous to this, the standard Mini, was like tiny. And I did actually want one. I actually bought one for my brother because he was, like I said, he was the Pokemon. So I bought one for him. I don't know if he ever played with it or anything, but then I was kind of jealous because I wanted one for myself. And when this came out, I just copped it insta off Amazon.
How do you decide, Rush, which of your handheld devices to use? Do you have when do you use the Steam Deck over the Miu?
Well, the Steam Deck does actually get it has a use case. When I fly to an event or something like that, I do actually play it on the flight, and sometimes I play it at the hotel as well. So the Steam Deck does actually get a fair bit of use. I will say that the Vita is more like all the time I spent setting it up. That was probably the longest I'll use it, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's cool, but it's kind of the fun in setting it up is like part of it in a way.
Sure.
Like, whichever one I've just done, it sits on the table, basically. The Vita has moved to the back now with the Steam Deck, but the Steam Deck will always have use. I just don't use it at home. I use it when I, travel. And the Miu, I don't know, it's kind of cool, man. You can put it in your pocket. Not that I'll ever do that, but you can,
Yeah, okay. So I feel like if people want to be in the handheld gaming market, they should look to some of these devices. There's
a lot of them. It's ridiculous.
It's very, very intriguing, Rush. I know there's a lot of people out there who are obviously emulating enthusiasts. We've learned recently your mate Justin Kyle Savage as
yes, he recently
enthusiast.
He picked up a Steam Deck recently, and he might be allegedly emulating some things on that. Which is kind of cool. So we had a little chat about that.
What's held you back from the Switch, Rush? I noticed you didn't have a Switch in your arsenal.
The Switch, my girlfriend has a Switch. I've played. To be honest, I'm not massively into a lot of Nintendo games. Like growing up as a kid, like I had an N64, but I didn't really play that much on it. And that was more of a PlayStation 2. Then I moved on to the 360. Sure. But I've played a bit of Zelda, and that seems really good. But I don't know.
Just not the games that you want.
The games I'm not like Mario's cool and all, but I'm not that bothered about playing Mario games. Even though I know they're apparently really good, blah blah blah, and Nintendo makes the best games, blah 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 blah. But I don't know. I'm just not too bothered.
Okay.
And the Switch it's pretty locked down. You can't do much. You can play Nintendo games, and that's it.
So unless you can hack it, he doesn't want it, Jason.
I got
I don't
you.
want to. I'm not a hacker.
And
I'm not a
only
hacker.
if he can set it up for 3 hours and then set it aside and never look at it again.
Never touch it. Never touch it again. It's a fun
Only-
process. I'm actually looking at custom buttons for this thing as well, which is ridiculous.
You're
Like,
a fucking nerd.
it's just a-
This is like
it's just
keyboard
a little thing
modding.
to think. It is, yeah. And there was a period of time where I was really looking into keyboards and stuff like that, and I really wanted to build my old one. But it costs so much money, it's ridiculous. If I had unlimited time and unlimited money, I would definitely build like keyboards, just because I don't know. It seems kind of fun. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, you know. It's the same sort of vibe in a way,
The
or like
question-
model building.
The question is, how do we get you to have this enthusiasm for Counter-Strike, Rush?
I think I do, mate.
No, but we need it in the server. We need to get in face it. We've
Look,
had this.
there was a period of time,
Yeah, here we
Chad,
go.
like I said, where it was right after IM Dallas. I had time off, you know, where
I'm
I
glad you were
literally,
saying this.
I could have done nothing. I was doing nothing all day. And pre Dallas, I was like, yeah, can't wait to get back into the counter, get playing, you know, stuff like that, and all this stuff. I get home, you've joined in because Hugo and Harry weren't at Dallas. They were already like grinding, and then you got in there, you know, and I noticed I never got an invite. I was sat there for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Like at home doing nothing, staring at my monitor, having TeamSpeak open. I could see the channel with 5 people in it. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a period towards the end of that 2 weeks where I just didn't even bother open TeamSpeak anymore. Didn't even bother because it's like I wanted to get into it, and now I'm back on the clock. You know, I'm grinding out some content and stuff like that. I can't be playing Face all day, man. It's just simple as that.
I am glad that he said this here, Jason. I broached this yesterday with J-Raz, and I brought this topic up to him. I said, J-Raz, I feel like Rush is holding a bit of resentment towards me because of this situation that he's perceived.
Sure.
And I wanted Jay to talk to Rush, but it feels like he's gotten ahead of this here today. So I didn't expect us to have this Dr. Phil type moment going on here, but I think we can broach it now.
It's healthy.
It is, and it should be spoken about. Now, I think that there's a key observation here that he did have that was accurate. Was when we did return. I think I got right in there with the Harrys and Hugos immediately. We had the GOAT League coming up, right? So there was a Henry G. There was a lot of Counter-Strike action going on first return, and in recent times, and this is at no fault of Rush's, even though I like to give him a hard time about it. He's a busy man, Jason. He's a busy man. He's got a lot going on, and I'm
true.
And I'm not a busy. In comparison, I am nowhere near as busy as Rush, right? So you know, I'm free to game all the time. So I'm giving Rush a hard time about not being available, which gets to the point where I'm messaging him to ask if he wants to play because I like playing games with Rush, and a lot of the time he has to blow me off. And then I think
Sell down.
no, but you do because you're busy, right? You have to be like, nah, man, like I'm doing it, and I get it, right? That's fair.
Just the terminology.
Well, no, but that's how I feel, right? If we're communicating like openly and honestly here.
It's just funny, you know. I had 2 weeks off. I had nothing to do, no invite. The second I start back up again and I'm working, you poke me 10 times a day. You message me 10 times a day. You want to play? You want to play? You want to do this? You want to do that? It's just like it's great, man. I appreciate that a lot, man. It makes me feel good.
We're getting here though. So where have I left off? What was I just saying?
Something about, I'm not going to say it out loud, but you were saying something.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna repeat.
so when we were back, and I did notice that you weren't coming on TeamSpeak a lot, which was pretty sad. I was like, oh, he must be fed up of like, because in the lead up,
I didn't come on TeamSpeak because I was depressed, bro. I was
but this
straight
is the
up
thing.
depressed.
This is where Rush. This was not recognized by me or others. This is you should have reached out and expressed yourself here because you know we all love playing with you. That's why we're always messaging you all the time. And I think this is where the miscommunications happened.
Not when I'm actually free, though.
I didn't know, but I think that's where the misunderstanding is here, Rush. Because of the time off, I think there was an expectation that you were spending time with your significant other. Because in the lead up, you've been a busier man, and this is it. We've just we've gone in different directions, Jason, and. I hope the likes of Harry, the Hugos, the J-Razes, they listen to this and we can all sympathize with it because Rush, I apologize.
I understand, nothing personal, but it did feel bad at one stage, I mean,
I'm glad you feel comfortable
Pex
to express
and we were being depressed together at one point. Like we were just talking about no invite today, man. He's Swedish, that's why I said it like that. So yeah, it's like it felt pretty bad.
But anyone can start like a 5-stack, right? Like there's no one stopping anybody from getting involved and talking to people. Like this, it's just a poor communication structure.
It killed my motivation a little bit. That's all.
This is a classic Counter-Strike problem. This is like back when you first started playing, and you had your group of friends that you're just like hopping into public servers with, having a good time, and then a certain section of those people decide, I want to be a little bit more competitive. I want to get a little bit more serious into this, and then there becomes a little bit of a split. That's where we are right now, boys.
Yeah,
but that's fine. If when I'm free, I want to get in there. You know what I'm saying?
And this is the thing, and I know that we can't make up for the time that was rushed, but we can make up for the time that will be. That there is an open invitation. I understand you're working. We've been getting into meetings today. We've been talking about some stuff.
I'm right.
And I understand you've got a lot of other things to do, but now the door is open. I've formally invited you significant amount of times here, and I'd love to get back in the server with you. I like the Counter-Strike with you. I like playing with you. I think it's fun with you and the lads. And I apologize that we've had this between us.
Also, I feel like for a player of my caliber, it's a bit of a waste playing CS:GO, right? I need to be focusing on the one true, and that is CS2. You know what I'm saying?
Rush, I'll play some games with you. I'm usually on in the afternoon playing some, fragging, doing some work. I'm like Chad. I'm not super busy.
Some CS2, maybe.
Yeah, I'll get in some CS2, some nuke.
All right. Some nuke,
I can't waste my time with any more CS2.
I mean, there are a lot of bots. Maybe we make this a PSA that if you're semi-decent at the game and are you lucky, a lot of people are getting CS2 at the moment, it seems, by the way. If you're lucky enough to have it, please queue.
Yeah.
My God, some of those lobbies are brutal.
The first official
so
talking
bad.
counter CS2 grind with listeners is going to be coming out soon. So get ready.
It's just one of these things because you're going to bop them, right? And that's fine. There's obviously going to be skill disparity, but it's just hard when they camp T-spawn and T-roof every round.
That is the worst.
Sure.
Just come outside and at least let's aim map, let's buy a scout, try and kill me, man. But I get it. They're trying to, rush their learning and it takes everyone.
I just don't kind of understand how, I just don't know how some of these people even realize they have CS2. I don't know. Because when you
There's a lot of judgment going on.
Right?
During that, yeah, I know, it's kind of messed up, even coming from me. During that 2 weeks where I was alone and depressed, I did play a lot of shorties on Mirage on my own, which was very depressing, by the way.
He's trying to make it sound worse, like he's going to the cinema a lot.
I know.
And some of these players,
eating meals on his own.
What's going on? It was very sad. One day I just sat and looked at the wall for an hour.
Have you ever gone to the movies alone, Rush?
You have been all right.
I've gone to the movies alone.
I don't think I have. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
A solo movie's a nice thing, a nice afternoon to yourself.
Yeah. I've gone to I think I've told this story before. I've gone to cinemas before, and it was just me and my dad, and we were the only people in the whole cinemas. But that's not the same as going on your own. But having an empty cinema is cool. Kind of a different topic, but yeah.
I want to do that. I want to go watch Oppenheimer. If you guys know.
Oh, I'm excited for that one. That one's going to be great.
I want to go watch it. Maybe if there's time during Cologne, sneak away and watch it.
You struck me as more of a Barbie kind of a guy, Rush.
Okay, I wanted to talk about Barbie actually.
Of course you did.
Because my girlfriend was like, "Oh, let's go see it," and I was like, "No chance." But then I've heard more about it, and it actually seems decent. I don't know.
What? So, do you want the people at home who may have seen it to give reviews to decide if you should go see it or not?
But maybe some people have. I don't think it is, but I think maybe some people have some inside info. Even in the trailer, it says, "If you hate Barbie, this movie is for you." I wouldn't say I hate Barbie, but I have no feelings about Barbie in particular. But apparently, it's not bad. It's kind of good,
sure,
from what I'm kind of hearing. But I don't know.
It has good actors
marketing.
in it.
It does have
Margot
good actors
Robbie,
in it.
Ryan Gosling, right? Will Ferrell's in it.
Will Ferrell is in it. So
Michael Cera, it's good. It's good actors.
It could be funny.
And it might be you do it for the girlfriend, Rush. You got to make those.
Exactly,
you got to make those.
And if I happen to, because I watched Little Mermaid the other week, and
wait, you went Little Mermaid?
Let's just say I didn't really want to be there. And this was the day after Dallas. That morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. and we watched it at 8 p.m. So I was going in and out, honestly.
Look, if I had a kid, I'd do Little Mermaid. I'm not doing a Little Mermaid for the girlfriend, mate. Can't go see Little Mermaid. What am I seeing Little Mermaid for? It's a movie for fucking.
Not the live action remake. I could watch. I could watch the
children,
Disney one,
right?
I don't remember much of it, but I think so. Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't that much blood and gore, honestly.
Well, I wouldn't expect so. And you know the story. Everybody knows
I don't know
the story.
I mean, I actually don't. I didn't know the story. I didn't know she stopped speaking at one point. Not spoil it or anything, but apparently at some point the evil squid takes her voice away.
Maybe that happened. I feel that's not a key detail. Was that a key detail?
That was a key detail. That's the main issue.
That
turns out I don't know the
story. When she takes the voice away, that's when she becomes human with legs, but she can't speak, and she has a challenge to kiss the dude or fall in love or whatever within 1 day or something like that. And if that doesn't happen,
reasonable.
Moves quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it kind of worked out. But then the squid did some evil shit, obviously. And it wasn't that simple in the end.
As squids do, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie, but I'm not a massive fan of musicals in general. So the second they start singing, you can close your eyes and you can not see, but it's really hard to close your ears unless you use your fingers. And you don't really want to be looking like that in a cinema. Just plug it in.
Little Mermaid has some of the best music in all the original Disney movies.
Yeah, there's a couple of bangers.
Whole New World.
Jesus. I can show you the. I just can't be bothered.
Wait,
that's Aladdin.
Whatever. It's the same vibe.
Aladdin has good music too, though. Aladdin, Lion King, and Little Mermaid, they have some bangers.
I do enjoy Aladdin.
Under the Sea was good. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is one of the bangers. Yeah. I think they did some remixes at some point as well.
What are we talking about? This isn't fucking movie reviews of Disney.
I did watch Spider-Verse as well. That was sick. That was really sick. I really enjoyed that.
That's a transition. That's a whole new style of movie.
Spider-Verse is animated, and we could do a mini get animated right here, right now.
What about Spider-Verse? Why don't you talk about this new anime that you're watching called Hell's Paradise?
Machine one? Oh, okay, Hell's Paradise. I've only watched 2 episodes of that so far, but I did finish Vinland Saga recently. Very good. Big recommend. Vinland Saga. Very cool.
Didn't you talk about this last
week?
Very
fun. I don't think I did I? Vinland Saga, very cool. I have talked about it a lot to you, though. Vinland Saga, very cool. Big recommend. There is a new anime coming out, which I'm kind of interested in. Basically...
Not the vending machine one.
This guy is a massive... Jason, listen to this. Tell me if you want to watch this. We can watch it together if you want. There's this guy who's super into vending machines, right? And he's like... carrying a vending machine home or something like that, and the vending machine falls on him and kills him, which is kind of sad.
Sure.
But then, bro, he's reborn into a new world, a fantasy world, and he is a vending machine.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If you look at my TeamSpeak avatar, that's the main character. I don't know if you can pull that up
I do have it. I don't even...
Yeah, that's the main character. I think he's called Boxo.
Well,
but he hasn't seen this, Jason. He's literally from reading about it coming, he's excited about it. So
I think the first episode's out. So if you've got Crunchyroll, get on that.
What's his purpose? Is he just runs around vending waters to people?
Well, I think he's super happy that he's a vending machine. I think he gets carried around and stuff in this fantasy land like a backpack or something. I don't fully know. I might have to watch it to find out. Maybe that's episode 5 of Get Animated, whatever episode we're on now, but
sure.
Yeah, Chad told me to watch this anime. I'm watching that. There's a lot of new anime coming out. Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. You know what I'm saying?
Can we go back to the Counter-Strike Rush?
Sure.
So like when we play Counter-Strike on Ancient, right? Ancient's our home map. When we're scaling up B long on the T side up the B ramp, Beehive.
Yeah, I know Beehive.
Okay, so that little like wormy position that's just up from it, where you're like next to the slanty bit, and you can
the stairs area, kind of.
Yeah. We need a name for that.
Yeah.
That needs a name.
Rat hole
needs a name because when we scale up B rush, like the first guy in after we've cleared like the first fight, because we're going to creep. Once we get there, I want one guy
standing there is terrible, man.
No, it's not, bro. It's the way we fucking play. I've been talking to the boys a lot about this. The way we play is when we enter into the site, everyone just fucking zergs straight for the pillar like a baboon.
Get a guy into that. Can't do that.
Get a guy to that position. Trust me, you can cover short.
And just hold it while people are running in.
Exactly, and one guy scales.
In that scenario, not terrible.
But that's not it, because that's every scenario when you're scaling into B, bro. Someone coming in, like obviously that's not the first fight you're going for. And if you get a guy boosted on the tall box and he's watching the back of cube, so right side long, right, long side B. If he's watching that, a guy is either pinned on the right side or a guy can swing from the left and you take that fight. So now the first guy scales up the ramp, he's jiggling the short fight, jiggling the pillar fight, gets up to rat hole. We'll give it a better name than that. He waits. The next guy starts scaling. He can now have his back along the site wall and start like just jiggling and looking. Obviously, a deep short is a problem, right? But we're obviously jiggling and getting ready for these fights. And he can then start taking fights towards long as we clear into sight. It's a key. I don't want to hear from you. It's not a good spot. It's been something me and the boys have been working on.
It might. I died to the pillar guy.
It might not be a Rushley spot. That feels like more of a Hugo spot.
I don't want to hear that. If he's the first guy in, I need him to go there because the scaling's pathetic otherwise.
First guy in goes there.
The way you scale up the ramp, what are you running in like a fucking W holding?
Hell yeah,
eight?
bro. Hell yeah.
Nah, no wonder we're getting multi-deathed, man. Get Henry Greer on the phone.
Rush is an apex. He wants to get into the action. He wants to push.
Also, I always have the spawn. No matter where we go, I always have the spawn.
But we're not talking about on a rush here, man.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Talking about as we're making our way up the ramp, we're progressing up. We got to go boosted on the box, watching the long side. Like it's about the pathing into the side. If we're just rushing in, it's more about the utility.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If I go there, right, I go into that spot as the first guy up, I get to that position, yeah? And then the guy behind me goes, like, actually pushes forward.
He doesn't push forward. He scales into the site. Why would you push forward?
He's advancing into the... He's taking control into the site, yeah? And he dies. He goes, Rush, what are you doing there, bro?
No, but that's not right. Then you're playing with bad Counter-Strike players.
Well,
that's not how this works. Like, you overlap, you leapfrog when you're taking a lot of territory like this. It's not just first guy in. Your whole job isn't just to die. Like, each of these things are broken up into segments and the space that you take, and then you're looking for favorable fights. So essentially, like in that position, let's say you get to that position and now you're watching short, right and left side pillar swing. And the guy swings right side pillar, he kills a ramp guy, you trade him.
Oh,
that's a huge kill, right? You're like a safety net in that role. Now, as soon as a teammate scales into the side,
I love playing safety net on some maps. Yeah, but it's one of my favorite positions that I have came up with as well.
Simple rules, Rush.
If you're gonna come play with the boys, now you're saying it, safety net. I really like it.
Does it make sense though?
You know me on Vertigo. I can play a really good safety net role.
Yeah, but Rush, imagine this. So now the second guy, he's scaled across behind the pillar. Now you in this position, you can activate a bit more. You can start creeping up. You can look in a cave and then you can jiggle and clear close long, right? You can, so like it's leapfrogging. And we need and here's the thing as well. I watch us play and we just sometimes just sit there like static pod bots. It's like
I never do that, bro.
We got mid control, we've got A control, we've rotated an extra guy towards B, and we just sit there. We need to be active. Let's flash for each other. Let's smoke. Let's keep doing things.
Yeah,
I never sit him, bro.
Rush doesn't just sit there like some fucking vending machine with a smile on his face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fucking
exactly. Yeah. Damn right.
Rush, I need some vintage Rush.
This is how you get invited to the games, Rush. You master this philosophy, and then you get your invites.
Oh, the philosophy's mastered, bro. Don't worry about that. That's the problem. I don't know. Problem is not getting invited,
The confidence on this guy. Are you? No, don't even call back to that. We just buried the hatchet, bro. You can't do that.
I got this fucking sick thing called the Miyu Mini, bro. It's fucking sick. Miyu Mini.
This is where we started. That's where we started.
We're back to the beginning.
Are you out of content now, Rush?
Maybe. I'm desperately grasping at any straws.
All right. Well, you can leave now.
I went to a market the other day, about half a watermelon for €3. Not bad.
Seedless or seed full?
It had some seeds.
Okay, so not seedless.
It was like a classic looking one, the green, with the pink inside.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well, Chad hates watermelon. I don't know if you know this.
He does?
He hates watermelon.
Rush, I had a thought. It's kind of a fun idea, actually. Cologne's like, what, 2 weeks away or some shit?
Yep. Unless you're listening to this in 2 weeks, and that's it right now. Open twitch.tv/ESLCSGO. Get the stream up. Pump them numbers.
Oh my god. Okay.
Go in the chat. Tito's clap.
Oh dear. That is Rushley 1 2 3 4 5 6 ESL. What's your official title at ESL? EFG, sorry.
Editor / Counter-Strike in-game specialist.
It's on these business cards, I think.
In-game
specialist. It actually is.
I actually hope you have business cards.
I do. I picked them up at Katowice.
As somebody who lives in Cologne, maybe you could give like a when in Cologne for the weekend review. Like near the Lanxess is a nice cafe called Heimisch on the street in
Can I mention Bubway, Subway? I mean, I just said it. Tony's Tacos is fantastic if you want some tacos.
No, but that's not central.
Also is
no one's going to be going to Tony's. It's not near
everything's
the venue.
like a €10 Uber away, man.
It's not. But why would people be going out there to go to fucking Nippers,
Uber,
man?
Uber. Nippers. Well, there's another taco place I found out. It's near Heumarkt, which looks pretty good. Actually, looks really good. I really want to go there.
So you haven't seen it?
Sweet.
It looks really good. I might go this week.
Do you want to tell people what Heumarkt and Neumarkt mean?
Neumarkt means new market. Heumarkt means I don't know.
It's like old market, like old town, right?
Oh, okay. Old
market. I was gonna guess that, but it seemed a little too obvious. I thought there was.
That's what I was gonna say, but then. Oh, I don't
And you
actually
do
know.
like you do a lot of your shopping between the Dom, Heumarkt, and Neumarkt, like that, like triangle right there is like
There's
a lot
like
of like
high
the shopping
street,
and everything.
Yeah.
high street. And
You
all
can
that kind of
go
stuff.
down towards the river on either side. You have the like limestone steps on the Hyatt side where you have the nice view of the Dom and everything, or from the
I thought I
city
was doing
side.
that, mate. I thought I was doing that.
You were, but you were fumbling the bag, telling
There's
people to
like
go
a
fucking
nice
20 minutes out of the city to go to Tony's Tacos.
Not 20 minutes,
and then
bro,
go to a
come
taco
on.
joint you haven't even been to.
It looks really good though. I don't even know what it's called. Something Las, I think. Las something. Las Carnitas or something like
I
that.
can't, man. You're fucking too much.
That's
actually
sick.
too much
There's some good. There's a lot of good burgers in Cologne. The Rhine is beautiful. It's summer, so the sun is shining. The birds are singing. The zoo is actually I haven't been to the zoo in a long time, so I don't know. But there's a place called Flora, which is beautiful. It's like a botanical garden. It's absolutely beautiful in there. If you're in the town for Cologne, that is. The Lannex Arena. I don't know how you actually say it, but the Lannex Arena. It's a big arena.
Isn't it the Lanxess?
Something like that.
I don't know.
I don't speak German.
I guess it doesn't matter. That's unimportant.
But Cologne is lovely this time of year, honestly.
It is beautiful.
All right. Well, Rush, I think we're going to get you out of here, mate.
All right.
Yeah.
Can I tell you about this thing I bought off Amazon?
Yeah, what's it called?
It's a Miu Mini Plus, bro. It's fucking sick.
Rush, work on something better for next week if you can, all
I
right?
got stuff to do. Maybe another, I don't know.
Can you upload the recording for Jason now so he can edit this and we can put
Yeah,
it
is
through
that
the
WAV
AI?
again? You need WAV again this time.
Yeah, WAV would be nice.
Yeah.
Not MP3.
WAV would be beautiful.
WAV
Why
would
do
be
you
great,
like the
Rush.
WAV over the MP3, man? What's the reasoning?
I don't know if you've noticed some of the audio editing over the past year of this podcast, but I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So just give me the WAV, and don't.
Have you spoke about the whole AI?
We
escapade
touched
you're
on
all
it.
on?
We touched on it briefly, but yeah, we did.
We can touch on it now,
We
Rush.
did spend a couple hours browsing AI services last week and found some interesting things. So we're gonna go the AI route, I believe, for the audio.
So
editing.
the good thing with the AI one that you used was so one of the issues we were having when you were editing the audio is it was low. People were having issues hearing, like they couldn't, once they were putting the volume up fully, they were saying it was still too low. And then we saw when we put it through this AI, it raised that. And then I think there's sometimes a case where my headset will
Audio
bleed into my
bleed.
microphone. Yeah. So if the AI fixes that stuff, I think the quality in terms of the microphones is pretty nice. It's just sometimes the background noise or some of those little
the audio is the one that
issues.
was really killing me, was like editing it so that it all looked good in Audacity and sound good on my PC, and then upload it to Spotify, and everyone's like, wow, I have this like cranked all the way up and I can still it's still not at ideal listening volume. And that I had
Yes.
no
Not great for an
idea
audio
how to
product.
do about that one.
So with that, it's always like you always need to make things much louder than you think when you do this stuff. Like
yeah.
way louder than you think.
Yeah, louder better than softer,
the
but
issue
I
is-
don't know how to raise that level, in a professional, efficient manner. You know what I'm saying?
Just whack that gain up, bro.
I'm always scared to mess with the gain, especially on like the master one. I feel like it's going to cause the peaks to come back. So yeah, that was the issue. But again, with AI, it solves all the issues. We did a test upload last week, and it sounded fantastic.
There's
Yeah.
been an AI one. I know you've been looking at AI timestamps as well. I'm very curious
Yeah,
to see what
because
they are for this.
none of us enjoy the timestamps. I think a lot. Yeah, at least
That's a dreadful role.
At least Yanko and I understand the desire for the timestamps. Chad has a little bit more of a militant view of the timestamps.
for no reason either. Like I love that I hate it.
Yeah, it is a very sticking point. You do get heated. But if we have an AI that automatically extracts, some timestamps for us, then all of a sudden we're cooking with gas, because part of the issue is you don't want to stop in the middle of a conversation to write down a timestamp note. Then you lose the flow of the convo.
And
Yeah.
that's why, Rush, we would want you as a producer of the show so
What do
that
you mean?
you could.
I've already been replaced, bro. I've been replaced by AI. Simple as.
Not yet. We haven't
Ideally,
selected
actually.
anything. So you still have a fighting chance to put a resume in.
You should fully do one test case AI one where everything's AI. The timestamps are AI. You don't even change anything.
We might just
this
we might
week
just
will probably
upload
be AI.
We might just upload our voices and just let the AI do an episode.
What we were thinking of doing, something that could be cool, like maybe there's an AI where you can pump the audio into a thing for the audio only episodes, and it creates like a visual representation of what we were talking about somehow. That would be
That
fun.
would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Like even if you provide it with like some very basic assets.
Yeah, we
and
give it the
just,
visuals
like,
that we've had
makes
made,
it.
right? Like we use
Yeah.
those, that could be fun.
Yeah.
That would actually be really cool. I don't know if that exists though.
No, but if it does and anybody knows about it, let us know. Tweet it up.
They have those ones where you can like write a sentence, like, I don't know, like the dog ran through like a field of flowers, and it will create a video, like an AI video of a dog running through flowers. So I feel like if we, I don't know, maybe they don't have Counter-Strike assets.
What if we took the transcript? We could take the transcript of the podcast that the AI pulls.
Exactly.
Take that, then put that data into the thing that you're saying, which takes a story.
No. Here's what you do. You take all of the transcript, right? You put that into ChatGPT, and then you get that to summarize it in like a 10-second window, and then you put that into like a Mid-Journey or something, and then you get something out of that. And then maybe you put that in something else and just keep going.
So this is turned into layers of AI now.
Yeah.
We've got about 3 different AIs working.
Yep.
Sheesh.
But this is where I'm actually interested in this stuff, right? Because we saw it take we used another one that took the transcript and the timestamps and all that kind of stuff. It even does like a summary. It creates different social elements that you can post out there as well. I think that'd be pretty raw, but I imagine the more you upload, the more it'll be used to the type of language you're using. I would assume. I don't know how these things work. But like the transcript, it identifies the different voices, and then you can like name those voices, and then now I've got like a database of our voices, so this thing can break it up. You can even like eliminate stuff, like if you wanted to remove the ums and the ahs and the pauses, you can do like quick cut stuff and everything like that. So if we can, because we're boomers, right? Well, we're not actually boomers, but I wouldn't say I'm a technological whiz. I don't think I ever have been. But if using this AI software, we can find some that are efficient for our needs, and it can make things cleaner and just help us put out a better product for people to listen to, then that's great. Like that's awesome, because the audio has been something we've struggled with for a year now. So I saw one, you can have a plugin for this was the issue we had with this one. The plugin that you can have to your Adobe, once you register it, it's registered to that PC. And if you want to change it, it's like this. I don't know how difficult the process was. I just think the fact there was a process just annoyed the fuck out of me, that you couldn't have it on multiple different PCs at once, which isn't great, because I have this PC here at home, and then I travel with a laptop, which we do podcasts from. And then maybe Jason wants to do something with the editing, because we could just record video feeds and then it would edit it together, right? It'll cut to the guy talking and then cut back to the next guy, and it would just this fucking software, the AI.
That stuff is crazy. That is really nice.
It does the camera cuts for you, which is sweet.
That would be cool. Then we could just record multiple video feeds and just pump it into that and have it churn out the product, right? And then I don't have to sit there and hope that I remember to change feed while I'm in the middle of a conversation. So I guess that's also an option. You just need to have large enough storage to. We've really gone down the technical route of what we're doing here, haven't we? Because I'm just an idiot, really, Rush. That's why I want your help, man. You build. That is true.
You especially with the. I taught you how to zoom in on a Premiere Pro the other day. That was a big step.
Yeah, I used.
I even taught you about keyframes the other day. Wow. That's
true. I did learn about that. Well, that's because I like, sometimes when I'm like nerding out on Counter and I want to show the boys something, I'll like make a video, and doing it in Adobe's easy. Right, like it's not too difficult to cut things together, but some elements you want to do a little bit more detailed, and I'm learning very slowly. A little bit of a
Spunj out here vibe going on.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I don't know. Like, I guess I could. I was thinking about this. What do you boys think about this? So when Blast is on, I'm going to watch the games intently, right? These are the first games back. I'm fucking gagging, playing Counter-Strike like I'm frothing at the mouth. I've been loving it. We've been playing games back to back with Justin. It's been great having him around a bit more. Hashtag humble brag.
Juzzy.
And like I want to watch these games, even though I know that this is more exhibition-y style matches, right? The stakes are very low as far as I'm concerned with this Blast stuff, but I'm going to be watching the games. I would love to just like at the end of the day, download a couple of the demos or whatever, whack the games on in refrag, because you can be in there with other people and fly around and talk about the game and talk about like the X's and the O's of what's happening. Like, oh, they tried this opening this round and they beat them by doing this, and just talk about that for like 30 minutes. I know it's not for everybody, but it's kind of...
That's a very hardcore audience, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it would also just be like summarizing the results of like the day and what we saw from those teams. But I would love to talk just a bit more detail, because like what Rush and I were talking about before, where I'm telling him to go to this position and watch this and we scale like this, like that for me has always been the part of Counter-Strike that I have liked the most. Like, obviously it's really cool seeing people win sick clutches and hit massive shots, but from an in-game leader, more nerdy Chad perspective, when I was obsessing, like I was always thinking about the macro and what we could do to block this or get this reaction. And then to think of how that game is now broken up, I would just love to sit there for like, a little while just talking about those things. I guess it's kind of just like reviewing a demo in a way.
Well, and also it gives you a way to like start thinking about, how, and all you can make the comparisons to the roster changes, especially with the Blast being the first event for all these lineups, is like, look at how this has actually changed the way this team approaches this situation. They now have a player who likes being a little bit more aggressive than their previous player. So he's actually pushing and taking space where previously you might have seen them just kind of get stuck in a choke point or not really move forward. And you could start having that conversation and start really building how these roster changes are affecting lineups and affecting teams.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun stuff to look at from them, especially with everything so new. But I was just thinking about what I could build, but I would need, Rush to talk me through it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's essentially what's going on. But yeah. All right, Rush, do you want to get out of here?
Yeah, I got some stuff to do. Thanks for having me.
Mate.
Appreciate it.
Hey, it was a great time, Rush.
I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for filling in for Yanko.
No worries. I'll send you the stuff soon, Jason.
Cool. I emailed you the PSA if you want to,
Oh, okay, good.
If you want
good to have a reference. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. I'll catch you in a bit. Peace.
All right, he's gone.
Well,
that's the end of Rushley right there.
That's the end of Rushley. I can't believe
he hung around for longer than I thought, almost 40 minutes.
Well, it's because we let him turn the air conditioner on. He wasn't sweating, he wasn't dying in that room.
Because I messaged him and he said, won't be down for potty, but chat, yes. And then he still came and had a chat and also recorded. So I guess technically he did both at once. But yeah.
This is how we get him. If we just keep bringing him in for like 10 minutes a week, now it's increased to like 20, 30 minutes. And before he even knows it, he's doing full episodes.
And we'll be just like, hey, Rush, can you edit this little picture for us? It'd be really cool, man.
Just grab this one thing.
Hey, Rush. I've got to go. Can you? So now, but we don't have Yanko this week, so maybe we get him. I don't know when he returns, but we can do another episode later this week, I suppose, after we've seen some of the games. That'll be cool. What is today? Today's only Tuesday, so yeah, we got Blast in 2 days. We just started talking about that.
What is the Blast schedule?
So
let's see.
There's a couple of days with 2 best of 3s a day, and there's a couple with 3 best of 3s a day. But in terms of for European viewers, it's going to start at 3 p.m. in the afternoon for the first set of games on the 2 best of 3 days, and on the 3 best of 3 days start at 12.
Oh, there's no days off either. This is just straight through. This is Thursday to the following Sunday. Okay. That's what I was wondering, if there was if Wednesday was off. I can't remember how Blast was organized this time around, but yeah.
Well, there's so few like matches a day, right? They've just spaced things out a lot. So for example, like I know teams are going and arriving today. I think they do media tomorrow. I think Henry left today. I'm pretty sure Henry left today or is leaving today. So I guess everybody kind of arriving today, being Tuesday, all the media and everything they have to do on the Wednesday, and then they start kicking things off on the Thursday, right? And it's not a lot. Doesn't feel like a huge amount of matches. Like there's not multiple streams. There's only a couple of days that are 3 matches a day, and the rest of it's just 2 games. It's really digestible. Shouldn't be any dramas being able to take in all these kind of matches and see what these teams have to offer. But I think people need to temper their expectations. Like this is the start of the season in something that is low stakes, that the best reason to win is because for new teams is what atmosphere will set in the camp.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe even the same for the established teams, what atmosphere will set in the camp at the start of the season. That's about it. The newer teams, they're going to have a bit more time, right? Like, oh, it's okay. Blast, it was okay. We saw some good signs, but we still didn't qualify. We have to play the showdown or whatever. That won't be the end of the world. But but if they play really well, they'll go, oh shit, we're fucking good. Like let's try and carry that momentum, and you see how long some of these honeymoons, because there will be a couple of teams with honeymoon periods.
Yeah. And it's also the difference of starting out with the new lineup in a positive light. It's a lot easier to work on things when you have like a qualification behind you or some kind of positive step behind you versus just getting smashed out of Blast and having to like kind of improve starting from pieces. That's
why I'm hoping for EG with the new boys, Jason, like they don't just get hammered. Like I hope that they have a couple of competitive maps, because I think even though everyone's enjoyed making fun of EG and talking about this, these players, these kids that were about to see step up to the plate, they've got nothing to do with any of that,
It's a whole new lineup as well. It's not the one that's like been struggling for years, right? They've pretty. I think only Automatic is remaining in any sense. So everyone else is pretty much new. Hex is coming back after he got kind of sent back down, but yeah, you'd hope so. Tough though. They start against Vitality, which isn't going to be very much fun. And yeah, we'll just. I guess all eyes you have to imagine for EG have to be on Junior as well, considering kind of the resurgent performance he had recently within this team. In some of their big games.
Yeah. Well, he never really got his when he broke out into a Brazilian team, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, it just kind of nothing really clicked. Whereas now he's had a chance to kind of take his learnings and rebuild back up. But I also think for like people like George, right? George Schnortz is a name that we've heard for the last little while. It'd just be cool to see what these players have, because I know some of the issues in the past is there can be bottlenecks for regions where players don't get an opportunity to go over and have a crack. When you look at some of the stuff for the Aussie boys, maybe not the same, but like Rooster went over. They were a different Aussie name. It's good to see what some of those players get up to, like Vertex as well. Like if some of those lads, get to go over and have a crack, like when we got to see Savage and his boys with Ben the Legend, so I think that sometimes the bottleneck means you don't always get to see what other players have to offer because one team is just more dominant in that region. And some of these guys here, it'd be good to see them have, this is big boy international competition, like it's straight into the big names, even though the stakes are a little bit lower, it's still the big names.
I mean, even the implication that this is really a big test for what in theory is the next generation of North American players to see what we've got, right? Like
they have to have complexity in their group. That'll be fun. An EG versus Complexity match to start the year, right? The two North American rosters, because Liquid's not North American anymore.
Liquid's not North American. That's gonna be really weird to get used to, actually. That whole
complexity with Elige too. Jason.
I know. We might not see that complexity EG one until a little bit later. That complexity NIP matchup is interesting, but I think the complexity. I think the complexity with Elige is a really interesting prospect. When you consider, replacing Fang on this lineup. If Elige gets a little bit of his form back and we see kind of a rise in everyone due to the addition of his experience and his impact, this team could get a little bit spicy. And it could turn, because remember last year they were like that team on the cusp who could have like a good upset but never a deep run. I think Elige could convert them into being able to have that deeper run if he can find some of his old form back.
I'm curious to see how he fits in though, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I've said this a couple of times, and maybe we extrapolate a little bit more on this right now, but because he's been in Liquid for so long, and you consider the heights that he's been in throughout his career, like into a Grand Slam, deep runs in majors, and being considered a star player for a very large chunk of that time, he's still competing now. So one of the things is, even though he's young, what is he, 25, I think Elige is? Even though he's still young and still in a position where he can compete, like he hasn't aged out yet, where does he feel he's at in his career? It's not what the birthday says, it's what does it say upstairs, and does he still have the fire to be a star level player? Because he is a star player, right? Like he's a great rifler, and he can be, and he's not. He's not one of these 29-year-olds who are like, he's in a position right now where he could,
in theory, this should be
really good years.
Yeah, his prime. This should be like his peak, right? Like 2-3 more years of top level Elige before we might be seen. I think more than anything, it's going to be the mentality and how he manages that in terms of, at Liquid, you were there and everything was sort of built around you and how you wanted to play and how you wanted to do things, and you were the guy. At Complexity, is he going to come in and is he going to try and like maintain that same position? Are they going to keep Grim, who's kind of been in that position for Complexity? Like that kind of management of what Elige wants, what Grim wants, what kind of fights and positions and roles they want on tactics is going to be the big managing factor, I think, of where that goes. That clash between the two of them could be interesting.
Well, this is it, though. You have to hope it's not a clash, though, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, over the years, there's been some eyes towards Elige for potentially being quite difficult to work with, right? Well, this is the chance where, like, I think with the caliber of player and the quality of player he can be and the experience he has going into this team, he needs to be like a mentor as well as a star player, because we haven't seen the best and most consistent Floppy, and we haven't seen the best and most consistent Grim. We know what like the peaks of these players can look like. We know like they can be good riflers in their positions, and we've seen them have like highlights. That's great. But if Elige can, and this is the impossible, and I don't even know how you quantify any of this, but if he can, play a good game and help elevate these other players to be that 5-10% better, then it'd be interesting to see how good Complexity can be. But obviously I'm living in that land where everything needs to go right, because they're still lacking in certain departments, right? Like they're not, sometimes it just doesn't feel like they have enough firepower in the server, and that's hopefully what Liege can alleviate here a little bit of.
I think that's the reason why you saw Liege coming in for Fang, because I think Fang was supposed to be that next person of firepower, and if you want to talk about inconsistency, I think he kind of probably had the most inconsistency, where you saw some absolutely incredible games from him mechanically in terms of just killing everything that showed up on his screen, and then you saw some games where he kind of disappeared and looked a little bit lost on the server and couldn't get the feel of the game under his belt. So I think that swap up, not even comparing the skills between the two players, but the experience of Liege versus the inexperience of Fang, I think that is going to be a huge step up for complexity. I wonder where Fang's going to land, though, because I actually quite like Fang if he gets a little bit more time and experience. Like, surely he finds a place, right?
Well, maybe if one of these guys at EG don't work out so well.
Yeah, you have to think.
He might be able to get his way over there, right? Like, it depends on how they look. Because now that Liquid aren't like the North American top dog anymore and they're moving away from NA play, you've only got OC and NAF. So it's not like you're even worried about them taking the next best North American prospects anymore, right? The best North American prospects can go to either Complexity or EG.
Right. And neither one of them has established any kind of dominance to where that'd be the top dog.
Yeah, you'd say Complexity for now, right? But we have to see how this all shapes up. And I would still say Complexity based off of the players and the experience in the server, right? But this is where I'm excited to see what this EG has to offer and how quickly they learn, and if the great reset of CS2 has any impact on any of this, right? But so essentially we were in Group A right now. So we covered off like EG and Complexity there in somewhat. You think Vitality just going to come in here and just plug and play and, oh yeah, Flames would be good and that would just be good?
I think
because like they're doing media and stuff now.
There shouldn't be much of a drop off for Vitality, should there? Like there really shouldn't be. When you'd
want them to start where they were, right? You wouldn't want them to be set back, like at most one step back from where they were, right? But you prefer them to be where they but these things are going to take time. But maybe having Spinks there, he can help. He can help fast forward some of the learning with Flames, because they can cut the corner of, he can just explain the concept in Hebrew. Is it Hebrew?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he can explain the concept and maybe like there's certain things that they can get across quicker, because vernacular, like even with what I'm talking about with Rush before, I've been doing this a lot lately. Henry's been coming over, sitting on the balcony. I got some AstroTurf out there. We've been chilling a little bit. So we've been talking a bit more. And when we've been playing these Faceit games, we know we're not the sharpest tools in the shed, so we need to make sure like our positioning's good, or our utility's good, or the way we move. So we know we're just going to get bopped, but if we do those things right, we can at least not be terrible.
Yeah, we're getting old. You can't just win by skill alone anymore. You got to use the brain.
Yeah, and that's also at our own fault. If maybe we played a bit more deathmatch and stuff, we would be a little bit sharper. So there's those things too. But when we're talking about this stuff, like it's even just the way you think of an area or the vernacular you use to explain something, it takes a while. The person's like, what spot are you talking about? And it's like, oh yeah, there. And I'm like, okay, so from that angle here, you can see this. And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm standing, and and I know it's better when you're in a server and you're flying around and everything. But still, you have to be able to educate.
I think the nice thing with Vitality with this change is you can kind of take those improvements in steps, right? And if you contrast it to Complexity's change, bringing in Elige, you all of a sudden have that question of, Elige a star player, Grimben the star player for Complexity. How's that interaction going to go? When you look at Vitality, it's like you didn't replace any of your like really meaningful, production core. You still have Zywoo, Spinks, and Magisk are all there still. Flames coming in for Dupree, who is kind of a smaller element, more of a role player versus someone who's expected to kind of produce to actually drive the team forward. And you can go with Flames and if you want to get back to major winning level, you're going to have to incorporate him and give him things that make him a better player. Whereas Dupree, you could kind of just put him somewhere and he's going to know what to do. But at least in this...
Does that mean that he leapfrogs Magisk in the hierarchy then? Like if you're looking at stars, it was obviously going to go Zywoo, Spinks, then before it was Magisk, Dupree, then Apex. Like obviously not. I'm like in terms of your output, that would probably have been the order that you were looking at. So do you think Flames leapfrogs Magisk and now it goes Zywoo, Spinks, Flames?
It wouldn't surprise me if that happens, but I think that's just going to happen organically based off how good Flames is. I don't think that's even going to necessarily need to be like any kind of meaningful conversation or like, telling, them the priority. I think it's just going to happen naturally over time. But again, Magisk plays positions too where like, anchoring bomb sites at times where it's like you don't really need to change a whole lot with him because he's just going to handle that position. But I think coming into this first event, you obviously just kind of plug and play and see what you get. You tell them a little bit about the T sides and work with them there. And then over time, you're going to obviously want to build a few more things with them. But I just don't think Vitality is going to drop off because you have just an easy plug-in upgrade to a certain extent.
Yeah, especially if you aren't losing the output of the Zywas and the Sphinx of the Lord, right? Like if they're not affected by this change, right, and their output's not affected, then they're still going to be extremely competitive, especially in a group like this where all three other teams had changes.
Now I'll tell you where I think there might be issues for Vitality if you want to go down that road. I think if you put him into like a close game against another top team, like I think missing Dupree's experience and Dupree always struck me as a player who's like when he's rotating into like situations, his mind is first running through the options of what he can do for his teammates who are already in, like what utility can I use, what position can I take. I think that's an area where Flames will lack. So when you get into like crunch time in some big games, that's where I would imagine you might see some drop off, where maybe it's an over eager rotation from Flames. Maybe he wants to get involved in a gunfight a little bit too early without using his utility for things like that.
So you're saying the inexperience factor here, but do you not feel that there's enough experience in the likes of Magisk and Apex in the team? Or do you think it might just...
There are, but I mean, look, you know how those situations, like you find yourself in a random 3v3, maybe Magisk is dead. Maybe it's Flames rotating over and he's just the guy who has to make the play, make the right play, and he might not see the situation the same way Dupree did. And if you're Zywu Spinks and you've been playing with Dupree for the past year, you're expecting something that you're not getting in that kind of a scenario.
It's a good point. There's no trophies in the Flames cabinet. Like even how many stages are we talking about here? Like OG, think about how many times they've made runs and events. It's not a lot. Like I'm thinking here, not a lot is coming to my mind, right? I think Flames has played at 2 majors. I don't think it's in stage stuff. Maybe
it's a good amount of experience, like when you consider it at a tier 1 level that he got with OG. But I never looked at OG as like a team that was giving him like. How do I put this without being a complete dick? Like OG just never struck me as a team who had those kinds of like protocols and plans set in place. OG, whenever I watch them, always felt like they're just kind of freewheeling. It's like a little bit more of a structured pug in a way. And I don't mean that as in like they just kind of loose running around doing whatever they want, but I don't think they had like the depth of protocols and decision making. And this is how you play this scenario. Wait for your teammate here. It's kind of like if you try and play smart in the moment as the individual, and it's all going to sync up. So I
think that fits though when you consider like the recent, like with Nexa going and Nico stepping in to be an in-game leader, right? Yeah. And the way that they approach the game. I would say like definitely considering the coaching staff of Rugger and Kakafu, right? They definitely have some approach to the game that they like here. But I imagine as well, like if your quality of player is not the highest, it does make it more difficult to pull off certain things, and that's a problem with OG. Like their quality of player in terms of their output available is not always the highest, right? And that right there is going to cause
the same problem
when you're trying to run things.
It's the same problem they have with their new lineup as well. Same exact issue.
Yeah, well, that's what people are forecasting, right? Yeah. Like that is the perceived issue. There's no their names. We know the names. We know Fasher is just on Fnatic. We know Keto is on Big for years. Regali would have to be putting in carry. Like essentially, they need to make sure that everybody can keep their head above water and they can feed Regali as many kills as possible. Because like Nex has been out of the game for a while now. Fiku wasn't even, hugely impressive within the OG roster. Fasher and Keto were more, like Keto has some great Deagle rounds. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Fasher does the same. He has some big, but they're not the star players putting with the output, at least in their previous teams.
The new OG feels like they rebuilt the old OG with different names. Like it feels the exact same to me. Like you have this, like
it's just they're not high
Regali for Dexter, and now the only issue is like the downgrade of Flames to whoever you want to pick between Keto and Fasher as his kind of replacement.
Yeah, well, but this is the thing. Like this is why I feel like OG and Fnatic, as like their rosters are very uninspiring. But that's because they're not high up in the totem pole. Like,
yeah, they're not in the pecking order at all.
Yeah, they're not sought after teams. Like people aren't excited about joining these rosters, right? Which is crazy, but we're talking about the best of the best, right? Where like there are a lot of players who would love to be a professional Counter-Strike player in these squads, but they're not pulling the biggest names in CS. They're not grabbing any like crazy star power, and eventually those stars are all going to be on teams.
Yeah, but at what point wouldn't you, if you think like a GM for a second, if you're like an OG or Fnatic and you have these kinds of uninspiring lineups, like wouldn't you have rather have like gone for some young talent instead of like.
Well, what's the goal, right? Is the goal to win, or is the goal to just make sure you're in the top 24 teams in the world by which your region split to get sticker money? Is that like, what's the goal?
I mean, I think it's kind of hard to say, because I think on one level we should always take the angle of the goal should be to win, and that's the way we should.
Yeah, but not everybody can.
Yeah, but I think too, when you look at like a Fnatic or an OG, I guess the goal would kind of be, short term stay in the top 20, and like medium goal is find upgrades to your team. So while the goal overall is to win, maybe you do that by kind of staying put and, accepting that you're going to be, the 13th ranked team in the world for the next 3 or 4 months. And then as you get closer to CS2, you find some ways to upgrade or bring in a younger talent who's shown some cool things in FPL or in academy leagues or whatever it might be.
Taking a risk.
Yeah. And then you upgrade along the way. And I think both are kind of in line with that goal of winning. They're just taking different routes to get there. So I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard to say. But I would just be curious, like, at this point, like, we kind of know Fiku, Fasher, and Keto. We know what you're going to get. Why not take a risk on a younger player? We know kind of what the players at Fnatic are going to get. Maybe, at least take one risk of a younger player who might have something you didn't see.
Yeah, and that risk would be Afro. So, like, Fnatic is a pretty old team, realistically, right? When you look at the names here, I thought they were gutting the whole thing and they were just keeping Mezzi, but they kept 3 of the pieces they had. They just brought in Dexter from Mouse, and then they had Afro, the French Orpa, right? You know what roster change in the recent time I did think, oh, okay, this is like, I actually saw this guy's Instagram stories the other day, and I went, okay, that has to be it for him. Like, once I saw he was gone from Flux, so I was like, that's it for this guy. It's Phelps, right?
Sure.
And then I see now he's joined Imperial with Henny, who's getting another crack as well. So now you have the Henny, Bolts, Phelps, little trio right there. You get yourself a bit of Vinny and Joda in the mix. And then you've got yourself a team that isn't half bad. Vinny's apparently going to be doing the in-game leading. I think with Zach, the coach, Henny, Bolts, Zach, that was the Immortals trio, right? That was in the major final versus PGL 2017 versus Gambit. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, considering how the Brazilian scene was looking before, right? They've come out of things okay. Like, Pain are fucked. Like, apparently everybody is out of Pain.
That's so fucking heartbreaking to me. I don't know.
Well, they were looking good, man. I don't know how this happened.
I don't either, and I don't know how it's gone this way. But yeah, so it's like by the time the RMR was rolling around for NA, I was so excited to see what Pain was going to do. I think even some of the players, the other 3 players that they've now lost, like Nekiz, Hardzao, like they weren't bad at all, and they seem to get poached. But what the weirdest thing about it to me is when I was looking at this Brazilian shuffle, I was like, someone's got to grab Big Uzera and Skulls. Like, these are the players that can really complete a team, and now they're the only 2 left. I don't not know how Pain got poached to that degree with none of their important players, and now they don't even have a lineup. It's so disappointing.
I wonder if they have moves that they haven't announced yet, right? Because PKL, he wasn't even on the Pain roster, right? He was the guy who took some time off, and then Big Uzera took over the in-game leading, and then PKL with Zevi, so the Orpa doing Fluxer with VSM, Lakalzi, and then this new kid. And then I think Hardzal on the bench. I don't know, did he go anywhere?
He did.
0 Nation just added someone. They added Nekiz from Pain.
Oh no, Hardzal hasn't gone anywhere yet.
It's Nekiz. Nekiz they added to 0 Nation. So now it's Cold Zero, Nekiz, Dumal, Lato, and NQZ. And before, I think they had that kid like Next, right? Who had the 9 in his name. And like Taco still hasn't come back. Remember when Taco left? He still hasn't come back. So I guess maybe
I think Taco's out, bro.
Yeah, okay. Well, I should have figured it.
I don't know for sure, but he seems to be loving the life of he's doing a bunch of boxing now, isn't he?
Yeah, I've seen a bit of that. Yeah. Well, good to get out there, be a bit healthy.
But
I should take that out myself.
But yeah, the Pain thing is really sucks for me because I was getting really excited about that team, and I really like Big Uzera and I really like Skulls. Those were 2 guys where I could have seen them going so many places. I wanted them to go to Furia to really kind of complete that changeover to be the in-game leader and another star rifler for that team.
I know Yanko's not into Furia, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, I'll give this a go.
I'm
like, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, like I don't understand the idea of bringing a second in-game leader in with Fallen and Art, but at the same time, like I think changing 3 players at once is a lot, and they spent a lot of money obviously getting Fallen. And I guess, if Art's been there leading the team for 4 or 5 years now, so like maybe he's earned the right to, hey bro, 6 months. Let's see what you got when you're not in game leading, when you're just like a standard rifler player, creating opportunities for us and being kind of the front man.
Yeah, and there was always going to be loyalty, I would assume, from Furia towards Art.
I'll say, even watching Imperial and DC at the Blast Finals, like Fallen called some really good games against Heroic.
But they looked more structured, don't you think?
Yeah.
And they were like quite set piecey. Do you think he'll bring that to? That's what I'm curious about. If he'll bring that to Furia, I don't know. I don't think. Well, maybe he does. I just to see what type of style they play, because that's the thing that is interesting to me. What will the approach be? I can see how they're going to use some of their pieces here, but I'm really just interested to see the way that Fallen is going to call. But they're in Malta at the moment. We should get Fallen over for a fucking podcast.
That's one of the players I want to grab when we're at Pro League. We should get Fallen in there if he's
definitely.
Yeah. Fallen would be a fun talk.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in that. Imperial, I think, is interesting. Even MIBR adding safe and drop, it'll see like with them not in the system that Fury were running, how they get to be as players now. Like, because you get an opportunity to reinvent yourself now, right? Like people assume, they're just going to grab the version of safe and the version of drop that you saw in Furia, and they're going to be the guys in MIBR. That's not going to be the case. They're going to probably have some different positions. They're going to have different responsibilities. Like drop might feel that he has like more confidence and he can take more, different types of duels and not be so supportive now. He's had time to reflect. Because remember, he's a young lad as well.
Yeah.
Like drop is what, fucking 19?
Yeah.
He's a kid.
Yeah, I actually never even realized that. I always thought it was like, maybe like 22, 23. Damn.
I don't think he was good enough for Furia, but like he's still quite young and has a lot of experience. So he has the potential, like with some self-reflection and maybe working on certain parts of his game where he could become a good player in the future because he's so young, right? So I think there's growth available there. Like the more because these are the details, and I feel like a lot of these details need to be considered. These are just like people in parts of their career and these teams being thrown together and the obstacles of buyouts and the bullshit. Back in the day, it used to be more about this guy doesn't like this guy, and that would stop roster moves. Now it's more about like this guy costs fucking $500,000 and we're not paying that for him when we're going into CS2.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of landscape now. Kind of drifted off the part of Blast. Imperial aren't at Blast, nor Mouse. We spoke about that. Nor Fnatic.
Yep.
No Gamer Legion, no Apex. That's the thing as well, right? So the season will start at like different stages for different teams in terms of what matches are available. I think I saw a tweet from Device saying they were playing in some qualifier.
Qualifier for G8.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I can't find on HLTV. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. Maybe I haven't looked hard enough. But yeah. Oh no, here we go. Open qualifier 2. Game is open qualifier. So there'll be IPs available. That's why he tweeted out the thing. I guess. Or maybe there won't be. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we'll get to like there's the changes in Astralis, like no Glaive.
Yep.
And Borup coming
BlameF
in.
taking leadership over.
Yeah, and Stare getting into the roster. I think Stare's a good addition. I'm just curious, like with the BlameF back to in-game leadership. I understand that it's possible, and he's done it before. I just don't know if I would have just added Stare and kept Glaive, BlameF.
Yeah,
Device.
I didn't see that change coming at all, to be honest with you. That was one of 2 roster changes I think that completely caught me off guard.
I feel that means they completely lost faith in Glaive, right? Like I feel like with a good team, like with good parts, and giving him another go. But there must be some reason to justify that change, like because this is the start of a whole new chapter now, right?
Yeah, and I'm loath to lean on this too much, but I wonder too if having the kid and just like having so much shit going on, maybe they felt like he couldn't be as focused as they needed him to be. And I don't want to go down that road too far, but that's one thing that I would
my
expect.
brain went as well.
Yep.
Right, like if you're willing to go like, all right, well, you had your chance, you're out. Like you obviously don't see the commitment that you need to see, or you don't see the production, or there's something that you there's a reason that you're willing to make that change.
Yep.
Right, like, and now for people like Dupree and Glaive and everything, and Zip's another one, obviously, he was down to that academy roster for a period of time. It's like, what comes next? Like, they're kind of left in the position the VP guys were when it all ended for them. It's like, well, what do you do?
Yeah, where do you go?
Do you try it? Remember all the teams that Taz made and Neo? Like, they were like, there was Hanaris and Aristocracy, and there was all these different names and teams and projects that they were doing. So I'm really curious to see what comes next out of any of those 3 names.
I don't think much, to be honest with you.
You don't think there's any like bad bitch redemption arc where they're like, you know, coming out all sassy and being like, can't forget about us. You know, like,
I think I could see him trying it, but I don't think it's going to be successful. You know, like that's the other side of the bad bitch equation. Is if you're not actually a bad bitch, it just looks a little silly.
there's just so many good Danish players like around though. That's the thing. And if they had if they could get the right talent and have the right people pointing in the right direction, I don't know if they're going to win a major or anything, but coming through and get some upset victories against big names, I think is possible.
I mean, if you're like, I don't know if Zippix has. I feel like less confident that we'll be seeing Zippix a whole lot in the near future. I think he
but
might
imagine
be done.
your base is Dupree and Glaive, and then you get 3 like frags. Let's say you give Nikodos another chance on the AWP or something, and then you get two big rifles in there.
Yeah, if I'm Dupree and Glaive, I mean, I'm banding together perhaps, and I'm going to TSM. And I'm saying, I'm pitching them pitching them an idea. Yeah, they're putting together a team. They have 3 players right now, I think it is.
Well, I don't know what's confirmed over there, right? But obviously there was talk, and Cypher has just left into the breach. So if those are the rumors of where that's all going down, then I guess this is more information playing into that fact. I don't know what the fuck how that's all gone down.
It's not a great looking team. Even if the rumors are correct, Inters, Jax, and Cypher as your kind of starting 3. Look, let's be real about TSM as well. It's kind of the same combo we just had with Fnatic, where it's like, you know, you take some short term losses of being maybe top 20, and you know, building a brand new team from scratch in Counter-Strike is really fucking hard unless you randomly get the Cloud9 lineup falling into your lap, or unless you want to spend like $3 million. So for TSM, it's obviously not going to be a world beater as soon as they put a lineup together.
What's the point then, though?
It's you start, right? You get that foothold into the scene and you build into it. You look for some upgrades here and there, and you're really trying to strike it big when CS2 comes out. I think at the moment you're just getting involved in the scene.
Getting in the door, if that's what you want to be in the door for, then fair enough. Like I can understand it from that angle for the CS2 release, expecting things to pop off, right? And wanting to make sure you have something to compete with in the early days.
I mean, the goal is going to be to create a lineup that looks like it has enough potential and danger that you can attract a bigger name player to it down the road. And I don't think they have that at the moment.
Sure. Yeah, well, when we're talking about a TSM, like I'm thinking about and I know these are not comparable in terms of the size of the org, or maybe they are, and I'm wrong. But actually, Apex is big. They have a lot of money in terms of like where they're funded. But in terms of notoriety, maybe that's a better way to frame it here. Obviously, TSM is is a globally known brand. But Gamer Legion and Apex of teams who have had players poached. Now, for Gamer Legion, it's quite huge. You've lost your star rifler who had a breakout major and was in the contention to be the MVP, and your next big thing in-game leader who's the talk of the town and was so since he was in the academy roster, right? Those are the 2 pieces you just had taken. And what you're essentially left with is Acor and Orpa, who has had a resurgence since, you know, he kind of had the lights turned out towards the end of Mouse. He came back, bounced back, and was impactful. And then you have 2 of the more supportive elements of the team, Kios and Isaac. And it's like, okay, well, they're good. They're good soldiers. They're going to do their job. They're good elements in the team for that regard. But you just have to replace them with a star and an in-game leader. It's like, well, fuck me.
You've been gutted.
Right? So they're fucked, and they're in like the top 10 in the world rankings right now. And it's like from here, the expectation was already going to be hard for these guys, and people were already going to be touting and yelling fluke, even if they had Imma and Shuit anyway. Now they're doomed. Now they're fucked no matter what they do. They're not a big enough, you know, piece to be able to grab some star names. And for Apex, it's not as bad, right? They lose JL. Like he's a big personality. I like what I see. He looks like he has potential to be an impactful Counter-Strike player. But they replaced him with Kakanito, someone who we know people have been talking about. It could be a good replacement for that, right? So for Apex, might not be the end of the world there. But for Gamer Legion, it feels like it's a curtain call. I'm trying to think who else is affected.
The only silver lining for Gamer Legion is really the fact that when you lose those 2 players, you know, you immediately get all the blame taken off your shoulders as well. I don't think that fluke run is going to be hit them too hard, just because of the fact that they lost Imma and Shui, right? Like there's no way they can recover and stay in the same place.
No, you can't.
You can't even have the expectations that they'll be close.
Exactly. And the high that you just had of where you were, like, you know, that's the story that you can tell, but that's it. It's just a story now. Like, it's not anything you get another chance at in recent history to have another crack at, like, to back it up. And that sucks. That must feel pretty shitty. Like, Mouse is essentially going to be they're not a whole new roster, right? Apparently, I saw a tweet from Striker today. I know we touched on this before, but there was rumors about Torji potentially being replaced as well. Apparently, they're going to stick with Torji. So it's Frozen, Shui, Torji, Exertion, and Yimpat, who is like the younger brother of Sergey.
Yeah.
Right, who was on the Mouse NXT roster. I'm just looking at all the names.
Did
here.
you,
Virtus Pro,
by the way, wait, really
cool.
quick about Mouse. Did you ever in your wildest dreams see the JDC drop? That was the other one next to Glaive that I did not see coming whatsoever.
For me, I think if Mouse, like in the position Mouse were in, I think that they should have just kept Frozen and Exertion and built around those two. And I thought that they were on that path with the Torji rumors. Like, I don't think JDC is a bad player. Same as Dexter, I don't think he's a bad player. But I think from where Mouse, with the base of Exertion and Frozen could go, like if they had a couple of players who they could produce a little bit more from, like Shui I think is an upgrade.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So there you go. I think bringing in Jim Yimpat, I don't know. That I have to wait and see. Like I don't know how this kid's going to be, right? That one I'm a little bit more uncertain about. So maybe this is another thing. Mouse can change again in the future if they feel the need going into CS2. They're a team who feels very flexible to be able to try some of these newer pieces like this, right? And it doesn't feel like it's going to impact their ranking of, anywhere from top 8 to top 20, right? That's kind of the realm of where I see Mouse most of the time. Like we know we had the little breakthrough periods where they were top 8 at a major, right? But it never felt like they were crazy dangerous all the time. But they could be, just not all the time.
Just not all the time.
No. What do you think? Oh, dude, this is what I was saying, and then I fucking tangented. Virtus Pro's Twitter, they went over to Argentina or whatever to play this fucking event. Right, they got invited to replace somebody. Let me get the story straight here. I don't want to.
This is new. What Argentina event did they go to?
So they went to this Argentinian event just the other day, and they won it. It was just one game that they had to play. Right.
What the fuck?
Where is it?
They flew to Argentina for one game.
Yeah, Fire League Battle 2023. Where's the news on this? Let me see if I can find the news. But they went to play against 9Z. And 9Z is Try's team, right? Just so everybody has that anchor point. Where's the news about this? Virtus Pro Fire League. I thought they were invited. I thought they replaced someone. I don't know. Maybe I'm conflating it with something else. But it doesn't. On their website, our CSGO roster is invited to play Fire League 2023 Global Finals in Barcelona. In Barcelona? I thought they went to Argentina.
Okay.
Is this the wrong article? What am I reading here?
I don't know.
Take place on 25th. Oh, this is something different. The event will take place from the 25th to the 29th of October. That's different news.
Yeah, this was just a show match. This 9Z thing was just a show match. Duh, what a fucking... Of course Virtus Pro went to this, dude.
Wait, it was just a show match?
It's single... There were only two... It was just one match. Virtus Pro versus 9Z. First place got 100,000. Second place got 50,000.
I guess it doesn't matter, but I swear they got invited to this thing, like for some reason, right? To this show match. They probably did. But dude, the tweets that their social media account made while playing this one match, where they are the heavy fucking favorite. Like there's no doubt in the world who their favorite is in this. Let me send a couple here in TeamSpeak. Take a look at that one first of all. Like whoever is doing the Twitter for these people just either doesn't give a fuck, like, or just is tone deaf or what. I don't fucking know. Check this one out. The evolution of the trash icon. Windows 1995, 98, 2000, 2001, 2006, 2015, 2023, the 9Z logo. What the fuck, man? If you're not beating these guys, I would be surprised.
Why are they going so hard in the paint?
Like
that's crazy.
It's not fair. Like that's consider like the comparison of teams. Like what is this shit talk?
I know.
It's like it's deplorable.
It is, and especially for where, as you said, like where the teams are and what the expectations of them as well. But I mean, I don't know. I guess for Virtus Pro, you haven't played in a fucking. When was the last time they played like a meaningful match?
I don't know, but I as I'm saying, it's deplorable. Maybe I like that they just want to be this villain, and this could be cool. We could have like an actual villain, like these people who like just don't give a fuck. I don't know if that's the team or if that's the social media, but like we need someone who's just a bad guy, and I feel like they have that bad guy energy about them, Jason. They carry it with them whether they like it or not, just because of the play style. I think.
Yeah, build up into it. Yeah, they haven't really played a meaningful match since the RMR.
Yeah, they did take they've had this weird since this Chiron thing happened. Like. Chiron was, they kind of.
What is this? What is this ESL Challenger Katowice? They won. They beat.
They went to this event. Okay. This was after Dallas, I think. or was it before Dallas? Either way, it was not that long ago. But it was just this. It was a land that they had in Katowice. So I think it was to replace something else that didn't happen. But they've added Mir since, and they haven't said who Mir is in the team to replace. But Mir played for Norbert at this event we were just talking about.
What are you doing if you're Norbert?
9Z.
You're just like sticking around to get cucked every once in a while?
Well, I don't know, but it could also be Kicker who's gone. And then it's also weird they got Mir because he's 27 and also he's rumored to be difficult to work with as well. So it's just so weird considering how many players were available. And the reason I thought about that is like this is a team that's made these roster changes seem so labored and difficult and awkward and just like ugh. And then you said it before, like falling into the lap. Cloud9 is the perfect example of a team who, if this electronic perfecto thing does end up happening, is awesome. Like it's probably roster change of the off season. Like and they didn't even mean they probably didn't even know it was happening going into it. And they're just like, hold up a second, electronic and perfecto, they're available. Fuck yes, we're having troubles. We can't get past this barrier. We can grab 2 major.
Yeah.
Like, bro, fuck yeah. Cloud9 must have a hard on right now.
Yeah, Jack has to be just fucking having a great time with how this is all played out.
And they'll spend for them, man.
Yep. You should. You absolutely should, especially considering the discount you got on getting the team in the first place. You should throw a little cash at the upgrades to actually make it happen and make them competitive in each and every single event. I think it's crazy. Like they still, like I saw tweets of like Electronic at the Cloud9 headquarters, and I haven't seen any official announcement that this roster has come through. Even on the Blast event page on HLTV, it still has the old lineup listed for C9. Oh, C9's not even in that, actually, are they?
No.
In the
what are you talking about?
In the top 10, excuse me. In the top 10, they still have the old lineup.
Oh,
listed.
yeah, because they haven't announced anything.
Yeah.
There's been no announcement from them. Like, I think almost all the teams have done their rosters now. Like, let me just bring this up again. Heroic didn't change. Vitality changed one that we know. FaZe, G2 didn't change. ENCE didn't change. Cloud9 potentially changing. Gamer Legion haven't announced the replacements. Apex added Kakanito. Liquid with Rainwaker and Patsy. VP have added Mir, but we don't know who for yet. Monty haven't announced their 5th. Mal's announced their 5th today of Yimpats.
Hampus is back for NIP.
Hampus, Fury is done with Fallen and Cello.
Then you get to 4s.
We don't know new 4s yet because Jerry and Zorti are out.
Yeah.
We don't know new 4s yet, but maybe that doesn't matter. There'll be a whole new team. Like Jerry was essentially the heart of that.
I was gonna say, like, once Jerry's gone to that team, does it really matter who's coming in? Like, that's gonna be a project.
We're interested to see if like 9 can get back into the swing of things in the second half of the year, right? There was a bit of groundswell, a bit of hype around them. Into the Breach, I guess, is fucked. They're down to just 3 players. So
yeah,
not going great for them either.
Bad News Eagles stay the same. Complexity added a Liege. Yeah, then you start getting into the 9Zs, the Greyhounds, ecstatic.
So where the fuck is Volt going? Did Volt join a team? Because Volt was on Into the Breach and so was Cypher. Now both of them are gone.
Let's find out.
And now Into the Breach is Rallin, Crucial, and Thomas.
Volt leaves Into the Breach. That's the announcement. That's it.
Dude, what do we? What I don't know.
Yeah, it's all weird.
I do know tomorrow there's a best of 3 in Oz. It's the grand final. Winner qualifies for ESL Pro League Season 18. Vertex taking on Rooster.
Oh,
it's an Aussie matchup. Now Rooster they're playing with the same roster that they played in last Pro League season. Was it last Pro League season? Was the season before? No, it was last Pro League season, right? Yeah. Chelios, ADK, Nedic, ASAP, and TJP. So they're playing together again. And they're against Vertex, who has a PZ, Malta, Brace, and Addict. And that'll be a fun game. I think hopefully there's an IP available. Oh, no, there probably won't be because the ESL thing's here. So I won't be able to watch it in the Go TV.
Can't you? You can get some co-streaming rights, Chad. Stream that bad boy.
No, but I don't know. Co-stream the stream. I don't want to co-stream the stream. I want to watch. I want to see the guys doing the setup nades, and I want to see how this guy's opening up in this round.
Yeah, but surely you could get the IP and just stream the Go TV.
Maybe I don't know.
Stream it your own way.
would pay. I would pay like a monthly subscription
to get the IPs.
Like if Blast said, actually, it wouldn't even be monthly. It would just have to be event based. If Blast said $25. And you get a Go TV IP for every single one of our matches for the 2 weeks.
What if they said $100? Would you do it for $100?
I'd still do it.
What's the cutoff?
I think 100 is probably too much for most people. 25, I think, is probably like maybe a little bit of a low valuation. Maybe if we said $5 a day.
Okay.
So how many days of?
I think it's like 12.
Okay, yeah. So like if I was going to buy a movie or something on Amazon, right? like or Prime TV, it'd be somewhere between like 5 and 10 euros.
And you get like 24 hours to watch it once you start.
Yeah. So this year, if I paid $5 a day to watch 2 matches in the GoTV with the GoTV access,
yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. It's still like not everyone. I would like the option. I don't think many people would do it.
No,
but I would.
You would. That's all that matters.
Like in this example, yeah, it does.
Are there what are the other matches? If we did Group A with Blast, if we go down to like Group E, you have the new big lineup is in there.
We just started talking. Oh man, what's that going to be about? Every time I think about that, Jason, it makes me more and more upset. Like this whole time of like, yeah, no, Tabson wants to build this, and then Sirison leaves, and then the fucking wheels fall off, and that's like, but Tabson, man, you could have been great.
But this has been our complaints for years about this. Is like it's admirable.
And every time we start talking about
it's
it, man,
admirable.
Like, not this again.
But you've missed the window where Tabson can actually go out. So now he's like stuck in this.
Well, now Crimbo, I think, will be the Tabson of the future. So if they keep Crimbo in this path, Crimbo can be the Tabson replacement when Tabson goes to coach. They just need more. And now they're in English. So Mantu's AWPing. They promoted Prosus and Sin, and we've seen Sin before, and their opening game is against Heroic. So they should get fucking steamrolled.
Why are they going English though? Didn't we read something at one point where Mantu could speak?
No, it was me. I fucked up. Okay, so this was years ago, right? When this whole Mantu thing. So when I heard about Mantu and where he came from, it was like alternate attacks or something. And when he was on alternate attacks, he was in the team with Dude, right? It's a German team, and apparently Dude was his mate. So I made this fucking assumption that if he was in alternate attacks with a German, that they were speaking German. Well, they weren't fucking speaking German. It was a bad assumption. And I remember talking in the past about, Mantu should join big, like he speaks German, da-da-da-da-da. And then they're like, no, Mantu doesn't speak German.
And you're like, fuck.
Yeah, but I learned that a couple of years ago that he didn't speak German, and then they put out in the most recent statement because the misinformation it spread.
Mate,
it was a bad assumption, making an ass out of me and everybody.
It's a wild play to have 4 Germans and speak English for one guy from Mantu.
But they've done it before, right? Didn't we have them do this before with like Zentaras?
Yeah.
Or do they speak German?
And but would you say that Zantara's upside at the time was probably?
What about Smuya? They did it for Smuya.
Yeah, well, and that got them to the finals of Cologne.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe they have to speak English.
No Smoothie on this lineup, baby.
No, but Heroic's nothing. Like Heroic, we expect to just come in, take care of business. Like, they'll get through the games. Navi's really interesting. I know I'm going to say on debut, people be like, they played a show match the other day. They're on debut at Blast, right?
Did you watch that?
Serious capacity. No, I didn't.
Okay, I didn't either.
Oh, no.
I didn't think it was going to be taken seriously in any meaningful way, so I just didn't bother watching.
Yeah, well, the thing is, maybe it'd be cool to see some of the big Counter-Strike names in the server, but like I think
they mix up the teams.
That's not in every game though. I don't think did they. I think some of them they played with the actual rosters.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I gotcha. I see it. They did normal for the first 2 and the third deciding map. They mixed it up.
Yeah, and it's like it's cool if you want to see your players out there like fucking around or whatever. That's fine. But for me, I know that it's like a friendly. It's like a scratch match. There's nothing really on the line here. It's not even an exhibition match. It's just for shits and giggles. What were we saying? Yeah. So Astralis will see play tonight when they play this online qualifier. So that'll be interesting to see Burr up in the server alongside
should be soon, shouldn't it?
Blame. When did Device tweet that? I don't know. I know that Smooya made a tweet. He's going to play in it as well.
Okay.
He says he's bringing back benched heroes to play in it.
Sweet.
So I'm sure there'll be some matches.
Been missing that team.
Well, I think it's just it's a bit of haven't.
What do you think of this new this new Navi roster? It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, I can't place it. Like essentially, I'm just trying to position and think what the obstacles are. I imagine like the language being one of them, like one that I'm always talking about. So I imagine that being a big one, even though there's players from international teams. But once more, the vocab and getting everybody on the same page about how to react to all these things, that's going to be one of the bigger hurdles in the beginning. And the other is can Immer and JL produce again that level of Counter-Strike? Like it's a great little debut on the major stage.
Yep.
You know, like it's a great little hello, this is what we're capable of. But at top tier Counter-Strike, it's about coming back in and doing it time and time again. And that's the next big question for me. So yeah, it's weird. I never thought I would see Alexi B in a Na'Vi jersey. I never thought I'd see Simple being led by Alexi B. But you know, you look at his catalog now of teams that he's been in game leading. Maybe this was the writing on the wall if a team like this ever went international. I'm not excited about it because it's a team that I feel loses its identity a bit. But at the same time, if you look at Na'Vi, you could say that the heart of the Na'Vi Counter-Strike team is Simple and has been for some time. But you know, the more we murky the waters with just a plethora of international teams, I feel the less there is reasons to root for these teams depending on where you're from, which maybe not necessarily a bad thing. But you have to then identify with the players or what those players represent on a different level. And that might be difficult for some fans to do. But yeah, I'm not excited for the new Na'Vi. I'm interested to see how they look.
Yeah.
I have no expectation.
Tell me this, because I feel like I don't know if my view of Alexi is like on point, but I have like this image built up in my head of like this in-game leader who like really wants to have like structure being his way. And I don't even know if this is all true. This is just like pieced together. I don't know how much of like a hardcore in-game leader he comes when it comes to like having structure and doing things this way and going through the, you know, the proper protocols, how loose, how much freedom does he give individuals? I feel like I don't have a good read of what kind of an in-game leader he is because he keeps getting picked up and put in these positions to have success and be put in good lineups, but he keeps having issues. And I don't know what the issue is anymore.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, what is the responsibility of a leader? And I imagine that is different in every team. And I look at some of the stronger teams here and what they're able to accomplish, and it's that unity, right? You look at Heroic, who are the number one ranked team in the world right now. Yeah. Well, we call them like the Brotherhood, and that's what Cadian and co. I don't know exactly who's responsible for it, but it seems like Cadian plays a big role of that, is to bring them all together and to curate that environment. I think, you know, when I look at FaZe, I look at Carrigan, who tries to, you know, he always speaks very respectfully and very highly of his players. I feel like he tries to set up like a good like level of trust and understanding of like, you know, of the way that they
maybe not a brotherhood, but a unit. In a way.
Yeah. Like, and they all, you know, when they operate best is when each of them trust each other and they all consider one another to be, you know, the best of the best. Because that's when I think about FaZe is like, you can make a move where you don't have to worry about what your teammate's doing in that scenario. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, what else do we got here? I guess Vitality had that in a, like, I felt they had to work on it, right? It wasn't there initially.
No, but like when you have Apex or when you have Magisk, Dupree, and Zonic, you automatically have some kind of like a core cohesion. I don't know what word we would put to it in terms of brotherhood or like a unit, but maybe family fit. Like you felt like you had that cohesion of the core.
Yeah. Yeah, I think G2 is a little bit more difficult with that.
And they don't have one at all.
Well, yeah, right. I think that there's you look at, it's like Hooksy feels a little bit disjointed. I know that was a lot of the critique. Like he's not, you can see him trying to get the boys fired up while they're playing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but he's not the same, like, and he's not in the same position as Cadian on Heroic either, right? Like, but he's not like looked up to as the.
Yeah, he doesn't have that natural authority that everyone looks to.
And then when you look at Alexi, well, now you consider that he has to, and I don't mean compete in the sense of like they're going to lock horns or anything, but this is just the way that, you know, the personalities and the people are. Well, Alexi as a leader type, most leader types, right? Some of them are a bit more tactical, so they're a bit quieter, but most leader types definitely have a way that they want to do things. And that's obviously going to clash with Simple because we know that he has ways that he likes to do things. And then you wonder how that then overlaps with Blade on the team. So in terms of what Alexi can do or what Alexi will do, it also depends on which version of Alexi can come into this team, right? Like, what does day one look like, right? Who's the big swinging dick in the room? I imagine it's Simple.
It would have to be. I mean, you just have you have. I think that's the kind of Na'Vi is just like there's so many question marks at the moment with what this team is going to look like.
If everybody frags, it could be fun.
I mean, I imagine it's going to be fun even if it fails, to be quite honest with you. It's just, the question is, you know, they're another one of those teams that are going to be judged to the standard of the past year and a half, which is number one in the world or top three in the world and knocking on the door of winning events until towards the end around the Paris major time. But, you know, those are the expectations of the Na'Vi organization.
Yeah, well, they're like essentially a brand new team now.
Yep.
Right? Like they as far as the roster goes, a brand new team with recent parts that have played well, right? That's it. Like, and I don't know. It's not an old team. The average age of the team is 24.1, so that's a good sign. I hope it isn't marking like the future, and then even more teams start to go international. I hope that like we've hit some fucking magical threshold or something. Like, I would really prefer if we don't continue going international. I know it makes it better for teams from smaller regions, but I would like us to at least keep some teams,
regional teams would be nice having mixed in.
Just a couple.
Yeah. I know.
Or if all the teams at the top go international, then we just start a league under it where it is just national teams.
If we get that World Cup you always wanted.
Yeah, we see what we can get done there. But it is crazy, man.
They're all international now.
Yeah, right? Like the Danes aren't. Right? Obviously, Heroic Australis, like they're not.
Cloud9 now, it's still this is
aren't.
regional. I wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, you have the Americans.
But that's
complexity.
2 teams in the top 6 are regional. Everyone else is international.
Yep.
Fuck's sake.
Yep. It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new universe out there. Yeah, as Aladdin would say. We touched on Liquid, touched on G2 didn't make any changes, talked about OG, FaZe didn't make any changes. Yeah, this is going to be a fun blast, I think. I'm with you. I'm just going to watch these intently and just kind of enjoy the ride, enjoy the first glimpses. Yeah, I mean, I think what's going to be really fun is to watch the changes, if any, between the teams at Blast and the teams at Cologne, which is what, like 2 weeks after Blast ends? Not even?
Hold up a second. Big just announced their Cologne lineup. Tabson, Crimbo, Sensei, Process, and Sin.
So no Mantu.
So Mantu can't play? So I guess that they can only use players...
What?
Because of... So
did they qualify through the Meisterschaft or something?
Well, Big Academy did. So I imagine that Mantu wouldn't have been on the list of Big Academy to qualify, like, because essentially they just have brought like Tabson onto this roster, right? To play Cologne. That's because I think Crimbo played the Meisterschaft with the rest of them. I think Hyped was even playing for the Academy team. I don't know exactly. I'd have to go and check, but it's a bit of fan dangling that's gone on here. But for whatever reason, the long and the short, and the most important detail, not how we got there, is the fact that Mantu can't play Cologne with them. So they just added Mantu, and the biggest event for them in the year, they can't play with their 5.
Well, that's classic Big, to be fair. Like,
yeah,
this is a team that just cannot play with their fucking starting roster ever.
Yeah, why would you? Why would you? Why would you want to play with your starting 5? Fucking crazy, isn't it?
What the fuck?
Like, yeah, because I just opened Reddit, which I'm doing less and less these days. And I just was flicking through, and I saw that in 13 minutes. I was like, what the fuck?
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at the tweet right now. That's
poor guy.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
I wonder if they knew about this when they picked him up. Like, would you make this pickup happen if you knew about this?
I don't know. I guess like they're not just thinking about one event, right? And also, if they wanted to make sure they qualified for Cologne, then maybe they should have played in the Meisterschaft. So, I guess there's a couple of ways to skin a cat or whatever.
How fucking weird
saying goes. Yep. All right. Well, I guess we can, just the two of us, Jason. We can be done.
Yeah, we can
pack her up. We've spoken a lot about a lot of things.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of subjects.
I do. I don't know if people would be interested. If there are any people who think they might be interested in me, maybe with a +1 or something, just rambling for like 30 minutes each day after Blast and just uploading it after the matches. If people would be interested in that, let me know, because I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to be watching the game. So if there is any interest, then maybe I'll consider doing that and just have these brief little things. I do want to talk more micro and macro and detail of Counter-Strike in it, as well as a bit more of a recap. I know that's nerdy. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea.
No, but it's your kind of nerdy.
Yeah, I just can't stop. Like, I fucking love Ancient. I just can't stop making videos. Like, check this shit. Because we were really we got owned, right? We were playing the other day, and we got fucking absolutely destroyed by Nico, Danish Nico, right?
Sure.
And his cronies. And they just fucking pummeled us. They just went full mid control every round on Ancient and had full B lane control. And we're like, no, fuck this.
And you're playing T-side, you got nowhere to go.
Yeah, so we watched the demo, of course, as you do. You watch a FaZe demo, and then we learned the way that they were like taking the mid control, and we started implementing that. And then I was like, well, fuck it, let's just work out how to get full control. So I made this YouTube video for the boys. It's not complete, but I've been in the lab, man. Oh wait, this is the wrong one. This one I linked. This one here is a Liquid B pop on an anti-eco on the T side. And this one here is really cool. I've sped up and I've slowed down certain parts. I love the flashes and the pathing that Nitro is able to get away with here. OC flashing behind the pillar as he runs in. OC did fuck his smoke and his molly though. So I've improved those, Jason.
Okay,
but anyway, I've gone on another tangent.
Yeah, but you really have gotten nerdy into the nitty gritty. This is the kind of stuff that Rush is going to really struggle with. You're not going to get him sitting down watching these YouTube videos.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, you're right. He's a casual Andy. There's too much of that these days. Too many casual Andys. Need a couple more hardcore Harrys. All right, let's get out of here.
Cool.
Peace.